June 25th, 2021. The whole world is watching. Derek Chauvin stands in a Minneapolis courtroom waiting to hear his fate.
As sentenced for count 1, the court commits you to the custody of the Commissioner of Corrections for a period of 270 months. That's 270. That is a 10-year addition to the presumptive sentence of 150 months. This is based on your abuse of a position of trust and authority, and also the particular cruelty shown to George Floyd.
22 and a half years in prison. That's what Derek Chauvin gets for kneeling on George Floyd's neck for 9 minutes and 29 seconds. That's what the state of Minnesota decides is justice for killing a man on camera while bystanders begged him to stop. The courtroom erupts. Chauvin shows no emotion. He's led away in handcuffs. The case is closed. But here's what you didn't know. The real story starts after that sentencing, because what happened to Derek Chauvin behind bars is worse than anything people could think of. It's a nightmare that's still unfolding every day, and it raises a question nobody wants to answer. Is life in prison worse than the death penalty? The 22-and-a-half-year sentence Derek Chauvin got was just the beginning. Derek Chauvin will be in prison until 2038. Maybe more than that if he loses his appeals. That's 12 to 14 years from now. He's 49 years old today. He'll be 62 when he gets out, if he survives that long. Most people think prison means routine. Wake up, eat breakfast, work a job, watch TV in the common area, read books, do your time quietly, and go home. Case closed. Justice served. Move on. Wrong. Because Derek Chauvin isn't serving his time. He's surviving it. Every single day. Every single hour. He's the most hated cop in America, locked in a system full of people who hate cops. He's a walking target, a trophy, a symbol of everything inmates despise. And the danger isn't theoretical. It's real. It's already happened. As of January 2026, Chauvin is being held at Big Spring Federal Correctional Institution in Texas. It's a low-security federal prison. That sounds safe, right? But low security doesn't mean safe. It means shared spaces. He's exposed. And in every one of those places, someone might decide today is the day. Rewind to November 24th, 2023. Derek Chauvin is at FCI Tucson in Arizona. He's in the law library. It's the middle of the afternoon, quiet. A few other inmates are around. Guards are nearby. And then an inmate walks up behind him and immediately attack him with a sharp object, 22 times, stabbed over and over in a frenzy of violence, while other inmates watched and guards scrambled to respond. The attacker's name is John Turskak, former Mexican mafia member, former FBI informant. He's serving 30 years for racketeering and attempted murder. And he later admits he'd been planning the attack on Chauvin for a month. He chose Black Friday deliberately. The symbolism, Black Lives Matter, the day after Thanksgiving. He wanted to make a statement. He wanted the world to know this wasn't random. This was a message. Derek Chauvin survived. Barely. Officers pulled Turskak off him in time. A few more minutes, and he would have bled out on the library floor. He's rushed to a hospital, emergency surgery, stable condition, and then he's sent right back to prison. Because that's all the system can do. Patch him up and put him back in. But here's the thing. Tucson couldn't protect him. The facility was understaffed. Security was stretched thin. So they moved him, first to FCI Oklahoma City, then to FCI Big Spring in Texas, where he is now. Now let me explain something about prison culture. Because if you don't understand how inmates think, you won't understand why Derek Chauvin can never be safe. In prison, there's a hierarchy, a code. Certain crimes get you respect. Certain crimes get you killed. Child molesters are at the bottom. Snitches are next. Cops are despised. But Derek Chauvin isn't just a cop. He's 3 strikes in one. He's a former police officer. Inmates hate cops. They blame cops for their arrests, their sentences, their ruined lives. A cop in prison is like a wounded animal in a tank full of sharks. Strike 2. He killed a black man while wearing a badge. That puts him on the radar of every black inmate, every gang member with ties to the streets, every person who watched the protests and felt the rage. Strike 3. The whole world saw it happen. The video went viral. The protests went global. His face became the face of police brutality. That means killing Derek Chauvin isn't just revenge. It's fame. It's status. It's a story inmates can tell for the rest of their lives. So he's not just hated by one group. He's hated by all of them. Black inmates see him as a racist killer. Gang members see him as a target with symbolic value. Anti-police inmates see him as everything they've been fighting against, and clout seekers see him as an opportunity. Chauvin's legal team warned about this from the start. They tried to keep him out of general population. They argued he couldn't be safe around other inmates, and for a while, it worked. He was kept in segregation, isolated, protected. Not exactly. Protective custody isn't protection. It's a different kind of prison inside the prison. 23 hours a day in a cell, alone. No programs, no jobs, no interaction. 1 hour of recreation, by yourself, in a cage. That's it. For 12 more years minimum. Studies show that prolonged isolation causes severe psychological damage, depression, anxiety, hallucinations, paranoia. The United Nations says more than 15 days in solitary can be considered cruel and inhumane treatment. Derek Chauvin has been in some form of isolation for over 2 years now, with at least 10 more to go. Protective custody isn't living. It's surviving on pause. It's waiting to die in a concrete box while your mind slowly unravels. And even that might not be over. On November 20th, 2025, Chauvin's legal team filed a petition for post-conviction relief. They're asking a Minnesota court to overturn his conviction or grant him a new trial. They're arguing 3 main points. 1. The state's medical expert gave flawed testimony about how George Floyd died. 2. The prosecution misrepresented Chauvin's use of force training. 3. The jury was influenced by pretrial publicity and received improper instructions. This petition is a Hail Mary, a last-ditch effort to find a crack in the system that's already buried him. But hope is all he has. Hope that maybe a judge will see something new. Hope that maybe he won't die in prison. Hope that maybe he'll get out before he's too old to have any life left. Hope is what keeps him filing motions. Hope is what keeps him surviving. And then there's the pardon talk. Some conservative commentators have called for President Trump to pardon Derek Chauvin. They argue the trial was unfair, that the jury was biased, that the city was under siege and the verdict was influenced by fear of more riots. There's no credible confirmation that Trump is actually planning a pardon. It's speculation, debate, political noise. But here's the legal reality. Even if Trump pardoned Chauvin, it would only apply to his federal conviction. Presidential pardons don't touch state crimes. And Chauvin's state conviction is the one keeping him in prison until 2038. So even a pardon wouldn't set him free. The irony is brutal. The hope is functionally meaningless, but it stays in the headlines. It keeps the debate alive. And it keeps Derek Chauvin's name in the news. Which brings us to the central question. Is what's happening to Derek Chauvin worse than the death penalty? If you're still watching, please don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more videos like this. Most people assume life in prison means you're alive, that you have some dignity, some safety, some future. Derek Chauvin has none of those things. Death row inmates are kept in isolation by design. They're separated from general population. They're protected from other inmates. They're monitored. Their execution date is set. There's a finality to it. an endpoint. But Chauvin, he's got 12 more years minimum of looking over his shoulder. 12 more years of knowing he's a trophy, a target, a symbol. And if the isolation doesn't kill his body, it'll kill his mind. The psychological toll of years in solitary is documented. It's devastating. Even if he survives physically, he'll be broken mentally. He gets out at 62. No career, no money, no reputation, no future. Just a name the whole world knows and will never forgive. A man who'll spend the rest of his life hiding from recognition. Some people would call that worse than death. Some would call it exactly what he deserves. But it's worth remembering what brought him here. 9 minutes and 29 seconds, that's how long Derek Chauvin kept his knee on George Floyd's neck. The whole world watched. The video is burned into history. A man begging for his life. A cop refusing to move. A moment that sparked a global reckoning. And now Derek Chauvin is paying the price in a way most people don't understand. He's not just serving time. He's become the symbol prisoner, the face of police brutality, the man whose name is synonymous with injustice. No other inmate carries that weight. No other cop who's been convicted of killing someone on duty has faced this level of danger, this level of notoriety, this level of hatred. The 3 other officers involved that day, Thomas Lane was released in 2024. Alexander Quang and Tu Thao are set for release soon. They served their time quietly. They didn't become targets. Only Derek Chauvin carries that burden, because he's the one who kept his knee down. He's the one the world watched. He's the one who didn't stop. So here we are, 2026. Derek Chauvin is alive. He's in federal custody. He's survived 1 assassination attempt. He's fighting legal battles he'll probably lose. He's living in conditions that might destroy his mind, even if his body makes it through. Is that worse than a death sentence? George Floyd is gone. A family still grieves. A community is still healing. Justice demanded accountability, and Derek Chauvin is being held accountable every single day. But the question isn't about sympathy. It's about what punishment actually means, what it looks like, what it costs. Derek Chauvin's life behind bars proves one thing. Sometimes living is harder than dying. So what do you think? Is 12 more years of this worse than a death sentence? Or is it exactly what he earned when he chose not to lift his knee? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear where you stand on this. Also, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more videos like this. I'll see you in the next one.